But Melissa Hogan details her experience and their interactions with the company, and man, the information that she shared about how they treated her, the private, intimate details of these counseling and therapy sessions over to the Ramsey Solutions company. What's up, YouTube? This is Ludwig. Welcome back to the channel. So today's video is a follow-up from my last video about Chris Hogan's termination from the Dave Ramsey Solutions. Now, honestly, man, this was heavy. You know, this was really heavy. I went and did some more research. I found a couple blog posts from Melissa J. Hogan. And if you don't know who she is, she's Chris Hogan's wife, or now ex-wife. And she gave her personal accounts to how she was treated by the Ramsey Solutions and Dave Ramsey company. And man, like, I can't tell you, like, I can't remember the last time that I've read something from someone that made me feel so incredibly uncomfortable, and I'm gonna get into that today. So I'm gonna do my very best job to separate what Melissa Hogan's direct statements are from Chris Hogan's direct statements and my own opinions. So the first thing I want to get into is Melissa Hogan's blog post. So she released two blog posts, one on March 10th, and the second, I believed, was before that on January 15th or so. I believe it was about that date. The information that she shared about how she interacted with them, how they treated her, how they treated their family and Chris was quite uncomfortable, and in my opinion, well beyond the bounds of what an employer should be doing. So first, she does point out in her earlier blog post back in January that when she came on to Ramsey Solutions with Chris Hogan, you know, the actual employee, things did actually go well. You know, they were welcomed with open arms. It was by hap chance that they met. It looks like the couple won some sort of a contest to get some time onto Dave Ramsey's show, and they developed a relationship from there. And then Chris was chosen to be part of their team. The two of them actually did have a positive relationship with them in the beginning. In Melissa's account, they were invited to family parties, company events, private home events, and they were welcome. However, somewhere around 2018, it seems that Chris got caught up in what Melissa states as were multiple extramarital affairs, which did include another employee who worked at the Ramsey Solutions team. You know, with an employee, you know, that's a difficult place to be. That's a difficult place to put the other employee in, and that's a difficult place for the company to be in. To have one of their prominent figures in a Christian-based company to be having an affair with an employee, and you know, and how bad that looks, you know, just not how bad that looks, how hard that is on the team, in the company, how difficult that is with his marriage, and how that can negatively reflect on the company. So I understand from that standpoint why a company would want to terminate based on those grounds. However, that's not what happened. What actually happened is that Dave Ramsey and Ramsey Solutions team decided to put the two of them, Chris and Melissa, and again, I'm doing my best to just speak from what Melissa has put out publicly herself. The team at Ramsey Solutions had decided to put Chris Hogan on a plan for restoration. Now for Chris was not immediately terminated, as I would think would happen with someone who got caught in something like that. He was to go to marriage counseling and therapy with his wife to hopefully reconcile their marriage, come together again, build together again, to move past the event, and for them both to grow together and come closer again as a couple. Now, this to me honestly seems good that they're giving them the opportunity to reconcile their relationship, to grow together, to move past it. But the problem that is coming is that the way that they are treating Chris Hogan is inconsistent with the policies of the company. And not only that, it's inconsistent with how they've treated other employees at the company. Now, I've talked about this in the previous video, that there was a young woman who was not married who became pregnant and had let their employer know, you know, the Ramsey Solutions team, that she had become pregnant. Now, upon learning this, that she had become pregnant and that she was not married, she was terminated. Now, this young lady has filed a lawsuit against Ramsey Solutions for wrongful termination and wrongful termination while she was pregnant. Now, in the previous video, I talked about how I personally felt like that was just unjust, that a young woman became pregnant, that she wasn't married, but that she should have the opportunity to take care of her own life in the manner that she wishes, and that even if she is a Christian and someone of faith, that is for her to reconcile with God in her relationship, in her own life. And I don't believe that's for an employer to enforce onto their employee. And now she's filed a lawsuit against Ramsey Solutions. Now, this lawsuit is going to come into play. Bear with me as I further explain Melissa's account on how she was treated at the Ramsey Solutions company. So Melissa explains how after they had discovered that Chris unfortunately did have multiple affairs, including an affair with an employee at Ramsey Solutions, that they were put on this restoration program to restore their relationship, to move past the event together as a couple and as a family, and to stay in good graces with the company over time. Now, what happened, or what she explains, honestly had made me so incredibly uncomfortable just reading this and just not being able to believe that she had to endure this as a human being, as a woman, as a mother, as, you know, as a family. That the stipulation in her going to therapy and counseling with her husband is that she had to waive all of her privacy rights and turn over the private, intimate details of these counseling and therapy sessions over to the Ramsey Solutions company. I would have to assume, again, this is my own speculation at this point, I have to assume to make sure that they were in fact reconciling, that they were moving together and likely remaining as a couple, so that, you know, it was a positive look for the company. From what Melissa said, it was a violation of her boundaries, that she initially did go into it with agreeance, but later realized that it was unhealthy, it was manipulative, and it was a clear violation of her own boundaries. And I agree, man. It was honestly kind of sickening that a company would take that kind of stance to get such intimate details from a couple. But even after she said that they were crossing her boundaries, that she didn't want the feedback that she was getting, that they needed to handle this themselves, they still continue to overstep their boundaries. And dude, it's just sad. You know, it's just really sad to see a company trying to go to such great lengths to control a relationship, especially when they had another employee who had also had a sinful trespass against, you know, or sinful trespass by not being married and having premarital relations. That Chris was treated entirely differently. He wasn't terminated. He was put on a restoration plan, and a restoration plan that was manipulative. And from just the outside looking in, it does look very controlling and a clear abuse of power from an employer. From this point on, for this next moment, that this is my speculation, it seems very odd that Chris Hogan, a prominent member of this company, of someone who is bringing a lot of money in, who a lot of people tune in to see him specifically, someone who in that time had a book tour, who had a new book, who had a tour that was going on, that maybe, again, speculative, but maybe that he was shown favor because he was a prominent figure and was bringing a significant amount of income into the company through his book deals, his touring, and for his personality on the show. Now, if I stand back from all of this and I try to put myself in the company's shoes, in, you know, Ramsey's head for a second, you know, you have a Christian-based company, you are standing on Christian values, a lot of your company is tied into church relations, that you feel that if your company is not holding up to these values, that the company can be looked upon negatively, that this can hurt the business financially, which would also hurt not only his income, but the income of his employees. And they do have over 1,000 employees at Ramsey Solutions. So you could say maybe he was looking out for not only his own interests, but also the interests of his other employees and their ability to income. And maybe they speculated that this negative press or negative news or information about their relationship would hurt the company. And that's why they went to such great lengths to try to control and possibly abuse power, which in my opinion, this was an abuse of power. It's just sad. It's just sad that a company would do that, that it does seem a little hypocritical to treat one employee one way, but say that Chris is exempt. To what Melissa said, their words were from the Ramsey Solutions team is that Chris is on a higher calling, on a path from God, and this is why he's being exempt from the same kind of treatment other employees were treated with, which is termination. And that's why he's held on, put on a restoration program, and had continued to function as a regular member of the company. But it seems a bit hypocritical to treat someone who's bringing in a lot of money, who's bringing a lot of positive attention, something that people are looking up to, and treat him one way and then treat another employee who maybe is not a prominent figure another way. And the last thing I'll throw in from what Melissa's accounts were is that Chris Hogan was only terminated very shortly after that young pregnant woman who was terminated because of her premarital relations. Chris was only terminated after the young woman, had turned in a lawsuit against him, which central to the evidence of the case was the fact that Chris Hogan was kept on despite his extramarital affairs, and that she was terminated immediately because of her premarital relations. Now, upon learning that, the company terminated Chris immediately, I guess because they didn't want to face the backlash of this lawsuit where this young woman is suing them for what is basically hypocrisy. And honestly, to me, that is hypocrisy. I get that maybe Chris was bringing in a lot of income to the company. I understand that maybe the income that Chris was bringing into the company himself created jobs that other people were depending on for their own income, and that the company and those employees were depending on Chris and the company for that. And that's why they wanted to try to find a way to preserve his stance in the company. But I was just trying to look at it from both sides. It's just, it just doesn't look good. No matter how you really look at it, it just doesn't look good. And that's it. That's all I got for today. Thank you guys for watching. Again, my heart's heavy. Let me know how you guys feel about it. If you disagree with anything I said, that's cool too. But thanks for watching. Subscribe for more, for my tips and tricks on getting out of debt and living frugally and getting your finances under control, as well as current events from time to time. Thanks for watching. Peace.